So yes, I'm Ben McCann from the discipline of French Studies. Bonjour, I should say. There's probably only two things that an arts degree won't be able to do. That's number one, make sure it's not raining on open day. I'm sorry about that. The second is for Australia to win a cricket match. Sorry. So anyway, so it's Lucy and mine. It's a pleasure to talk to you today about the Bachelor of Arts. Put your passion to work is the subtitle, if you like. I guess when we think of a Bachelor of Arts, we're answering three questions. Where have we come from? Where are we right now? And where are we going? And they are the three questions that all of our colleagues, Lucy and myself, and our many other colleagues in this wonderful faculty, seek to ask and get you to think about every single day. And over the next 20 to 25 minutes, Lucy and I will talk to you about some of the ways in which those questions can be asked and how those questions can also be answered. You could get a lot of this information from the website. You could get a lot of this information from speaking to many of our colleagues that are around the university today. But I thought it would be just useful anyway, just to give you a little bit of background about who we are, what we are, and what we've been doing. We are one of the oldest, if not the oldest, named arts degrees in the country. And we're certainly as old as this esteemed university. That's over 135 years. So we've been around an awful long time asking those kind of questions. Where have we come from? Where are we now? And where are we going? Of course, the question maybe 20 years ago, 50 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago was very different to the kind of question that we ask today in the 21st century. And many of us in this room will be aware of the key phrase that we will hear over and over again, not over just this election campaign, but over the next many decades, I suspect. And that is the Asian century. And one of the key selling points of this faculty is how we approach the Asian century. How do we, as a liberal arts university in South Australia, position ourselves and create job-ready and world-ready graduates to go out and tackle those key problems, issues, scenarios that are going to be facing all of us over the next 10, 15, 20 years' time. We all know what some of those problems are, of course, some of those issues and challenges are. And right here at the Faculty of Arts, we can address many of them in lots of different ways. You know, of course, that the University of Adelaide is an esteemed university. It's one of the top 1% of universities in the world. It's a very hard-earned success that we have reached over a number of years. And I think the point there is that we don't just create job-ready graduates. Because what does a Bachelor of Arts really do? We know what a Bachelor of Dentistry or a Bachelor of Health Science or a Bachelor of Engineering might do. Chances are you'll become a dentist or a doctor or an engineer. But what do you do with an arts degree? Do you become an artist? Do you become an arts teacher, whatever that may be? Or is it actually a way of expanding your mind and not providing you with a job-ready preparedness for work, but actually a mental state, if you like, a way of thinking about the world that is creative and flexible and collaborative and all of the things that we strive to accomplish every day at this university. So in that respect, we create world-ready graduates, graduates that are ready on their day of graduation, which will come to you all, of course, very soon. Before you've even begun, we're talking about that. This idea of being ready to face the world. Now, the world for many of you may still be Adelaide and South Australia. Some of you may move interstate, stay in Australia. Some of you may move to the Asia Pacific. Some of you, like me, might do the other way around and go from Australia to Europe to work. And so the skills that we provide for you will allow you to bridge those challenges and to feel confident to communicate, to solve problems analytically, to work creatively, to think of all of the different skills that you've developed over your 3 years with us and to put them to practice. One of the great selling points of this university and of this faculty, and I have to say this, I'm kind of obligated to say that, is that we don't just have wonderful researchers, but we have wonderful teachers. And it's my belief, and Lucy's as well, I know, is that the best researchers make the best teachers and vice versa. It's not just about researchers explaining to you what they're researching, the discoveries that they found, wonderful though they may be. It's also about putting those research discoveries into a workable teaching relationship that we can inspire you and enthuse you and make you passionate about what we learn. My subject of passion is French 1930s cinema. Okay, wow, well, you know, how do you explain to somebody about how 1930s French cinema is going to change the world? It probably won't. It's not going to solve the Middle East peace process. It's not going to solve the melting of the polar ice caps. But it's going to make me able to look at things in a very, very different way than somebody that has never seen a film, or has read a Shakespeare play, or has read a Greek tragedy, or has understood the development of the Industrial Revolution. All of these approaches to problems and issues allow us to develop a mindset that is creative and collaborative and, above all, I think, dynamic in the way in which we think. Now, of course, many of the jobs that you will go on and do will probably cover a whole range of different areas: law, medicine, teaching, journalism, and so on. But also there is something out there for all of you. I would say that the Bachelor of Arts is the most flexible degree in this university. Anything that you want to do, you are able to do. Anything that you have a burning passion to develop, you will be able to do. And we'll show you in a moment some of those things. Humanities, the arts, humanities. The very word humanities implies something to do with the human condition. What is it like to be a human? And we ask and answer those questions using the 6 C's there: communication, community, culture, conservation, change, and cognition. Being human is to try and understand what it is about us that makes us human. It is a question that has been going around for hundreds and hundreds of years. Nobody has the right answer yet, but it is what brings us together and also what provides us that great sense of passion. What things that we do that bring us together, but also the things that we do that divide us. And Lucy will talk in a little moment about the Bachelor of Advanced program, something that we've recently introduced into the University of Adelaide over the last couple of years, which actually pushed those questions even further. So communication, first of all. If you're going to be job ready, if you're going to be world ready, you need to communicate. Of course, we know that. That's a truism, to be able to speak, to be able to talk to somebody over the end of the phone, face to face, in a meeting, on Skype, however we do that. But of course, in this increasingly globalized, but also interconnected world where we can jump on an A380 and be in Europe this time tomorrow, we need to be able to communicate with our colleagues and our partners and our potential employers in the blink of an eye. And so you can see there all of the different modern languages that we can offer you here. We can also look at how different types of writing, different types of speaking, linguistics, teaching of English to students who English perhaps isn't their first language. All of those skills are offered. Chinese, of course, is one of our most fastest growing languages for many reasons. My dad once said to me many years ago, do 2 things at university: learn Chinese and learn computers. And I learned French, so I kind of did half of what he said. And I did a little bit with computers, but perhaps not as much as I did. That was 20 years ago. Now, learning Chinese, learning an Asian language, but Chinese in particular, is perhaps one of the key things that I would ask you to take away this afternoon. Community. It's not just about communicating, it's about being part of a team or being part of a wider network of people with like-minded interests. And you can see there, both in the social science and in the politics and the economics disciplines that we offer, understanding how the world works from a gender point of view, from a work studies point of view, from an Australian politics point of view, of course. In 2.5, 3 weeks' time, the most important decision that a nation ever makes will be taken. Well, we have world-renowned lecturers and academics here at this university that can explain to you the intricacies of Tony Abbott's policies, the intricacies of the labour politics and the labour policies. All of these things that impact us every single day, we need somebody to help us work those ideas and those conundrums through, or we have people that do that for us. Culture. Being culturally aware, cross-cultural competence, understanding how other cultures work and function and enjoy and spend their leisure time in the way that we do here in Australia. Okay? We offer different types of cultures. High art, art theory, music studies, everyday life, anthropology, European studies, Australian studies. How is Australia as a nation reflected in its novels, in its music, in its literature, in its film? Likewise, how has Europe impacted upon that growth? And how has Australia sent back to Europe? I don't just mean Dame Edna, but I mean other cultural icons as well. How have they impacted on the cultural growth of Europe as well? And we look at that through a number of different prisms: film studies, literature, music, and so on. Perhaps my favourite slide, conservation, change, and cognition. Gee, look at the width and breadth and depth of things that you can learn here in a Bachelor of Arts. Geography, environmental studies, and development studies. 21st century, we're hearing all the time about rapid population growth. Can Australia go from a small 22, 23 million to a 35 million? Maybe it can, maybe it needs to, maybe it has to. Well, we have world-renowned researchers here that are looking right now at population growth, population change, demography, migration, and how all of these things are impacting us, not just in Australia, but around the world. And likewise, environmental studies, polar ice caps, Great Barrier Reef. Every time we open the newspaper, Great Barrier Reef is shrinking, being destroyed every single day, maybe by man-made effects, maybe not, but something needs to be done to change that. And right here at this faculty, we have people that are looking at how coastal change, coastal migration, coastal development systems can be improved in order to facilitate a safer and more secure future for our conservation. Change is important as well. Remember that question, where did we come from? One of the key answers to that question is to look into the past. It's only by looking at the past that we can avoid repeating the mistakes of the present. And so we look at classics, ancient Greek, ancient Roman literature, history, tradition, thought, philosophy, and more recent history, not just in Australia, but around the world, to see how previous problems can actually maybe provide a consolation and a solution for today's problems. And cognition, the way in which we think. Philosophy is one of our key strengths here at the faculty. Okay? Looking at different types of philosophy, the way that we think, the way that we are, who we are, how we think. All of these slides show that there's an interconnectedness with what we offer here. As I said before, it's a very flexible degree, providing us with all of that opportunity to link together French, Chinese, philosophy, migration, food studies, and gender studies. I mean, what a wonderful combination that is, to be able to look at your timetable in orientation week in 6 months' time or less and say, what an exciting start to my university degree. So many different options, so many different opportunities. So we're contemporary, we're flexible, we have a very strong teaching and research tradition, but we're also flexible. It's not just me standing up in front of 200 people, it's part of what I do, I enjoy doing it, but that's not the only way we teach. Small group discovery, which Lucy will talk about in a moment, online, flexible learning, distance learning, small seminars, small groups where 4 or 5 of us sit around and discuss some of the burning issues of the day. That's where we get to the real nub of the problem, if you like. That's what we aim to achieve in every single hour that we teach here at the university. And because we have those world-renowned lecturers and academics, it's up to date. It's up to the minute. Things are changing so rapidly in our world. It's our responsibility to you to make sure that those things are kept up to the minute as well, so that your degree is contemporary, but above all, relevant, because that's what people are after. And when we say, well, what are people after? What are those graduates, recruitment officers after? Well, behind me are a few of those dot points that I've talked about already. It's not like an engineering degree, perhaps. It's not like a health science degree. It's broader. It's more generic. But I guess we could look down at all of those different subheadings there and argue that that is what we aspire to every day in the way in which we work and communicate and think about things. Creative thinking, effective communication, and awareness of social justice issues. These are things that employers are after, just as much as knowing that 1 + 1 is 2, okay? It's these things that an employer looks for, to be able to understand the challenges that are ahead, to have an ethical and a moral understanding of how the world works. And we would argue right here at the heart of this faculty, every single contact hour you spend with us will touch on 3 or 4 of these points all the time. It's not just giving you the specialised knowledge of French cinema or the specialised knowledge of a Shakespeare play. That's important, of course, and what we do, but it's also these other areas as well, which are so vitally important to everything that we do. And just before I hand over to Lucy, there are other opportunities that I'd like just to flag up as well, and the way in which we can offer some career-focused learning for you here at the university. The 2 key things to pick out from this slide are the Arts Internship Programme, which is when we tailor a Bachelor of Arts graduate with an organisation, a business or community organisation within Adelaide for 1 semester, and that student will spend 3 hours a week over the course of a semester, spending time at that organisation, working with them, shadowing them, being mentored by an expert, a politician, a journalist, a lawyer, a human rights activist, and so on. And then the student goes away, writes a report for 7,000 words, which counts as credit towards their final degree. What a wonderful way to combine that real-world job readiness experience with an academic focus as well. But also the community engagement course that we've developed over the last few years continues to grow too. I talked before about the importance of ethical awareness, of social awareness, where we provide some volunteering and community engagement courses that allow those passions that you may have to be invested in the degree that you are continuing. Remember that idea, flexibility. Everything that you have in your mind is possible. Community leadership is very, very important for what we do. Okay? Not all of our arts graduates will go on to become politicians. Sarah Hanson-Young and Chloe Fox, both recent graduates of the University of Adelaide from this particular faculty. Of course, Julia Gillard did a degree in law here as well, back in the day. Not all of our graduates will become politicians, some may well. Okay? There may be a future Prime Minister right here in this room, who knows? But whatever job you go on to do, you can be sure that you will have been given the best possible start in life by the sorts of things that I've been talking about before. The choice that we offer is one of the most flexible out there. You can either have 1 or 2 majors, or alongside one of those majors, a minor. I won't talk too much about how that works this afternoon because it's freely available online, or you can come and talk to Lucy or I at the end if you want to start looking at particular combinations. But certainly the breadth that I've been talking about, the breadth that we offer are through all of those different electives, whether it's film studies, history, politics, Chinese, French, and so on. Lots of different possibilities. So, with that in mind, I'd now like to hand over to Lucy. Thanks for your attention. And Lucy will now talk about a very specific development that the faculty has developed over the last couple of weeks.
You may have seen recently on the television a series of advertisements for the University of Adelaide with the Seek Light line, which is, of course, we're all wearing our T-shirts today. And one of those ads actually involves me, so you might recognise me in one of those. I think it's showing particularly on Channel 7 during sunrise. I'm not sure why that's so, but it is. Our Vice-Chancellor is very much committed that we will remain a face-to-face university in which every student from 2014 will experience what he has called the small group discovery experience. This is actually something that I have had in my life, that Ben has had in his life, which is, it's about the aha moment when you really get it, when you get that idea that you can't shake, that you must find out more about. That's why I'm here. My particular moment was about a Renaissance playwright called Christopher Marlowe, who some people think wrote Shakespeare's plays, but that's wrong. And I have been pursuing that all my life. I have been pursuing research into Christopher Marlowe. And The aha moment for me came within a small group where I was working intensely with 5 or 6 other people, and my tutor was a research active academic. The Vice-Chancellor is committed to this idea. We are all committed to this idea because we know that it works, because we have experienced it ourselves. And so that you can experience it next year when you enrol, we have created a special course in which this will happen. It is called The Inquiring Mind, the Arts of Engagement. And it is about gaining the light of new knowledge in small group discovery experiences from your first year. This is not the only course in which this will happen. It will happen in your other courses as well. It will be taught by experienced research active academics. They're not going to bang on to you about their research areas because you might not care about what their research areas are, but what they will be helping you to do is to understand the process of research. So it's, as you get, the aha moment is a wonderful moment and experience and epiphany to have, but what are you going to do after you've had that? So it's about helping you to understand the scholarship of discovery, the kinds of activities that will help you research that topic. Which is why why it is going to be taught by research active academics, because it's something that they do every day. This is a distinctly University of Adelaide experience, and it's related to the University of Adelaide's coat of arms, which you see there, where you see the Southern Cross constellation. Is it a constellation? Obviously, I don't do astronomy. And it has a book, and then it has a phrase in Latin, sub cruce lumen, which means under the Southern Cross. Together, it means the light of learning or the light of new knowledge under the Southern Cross. This is a description of the course that we have developed, The Inquiring Mind, and it takes the position that the pursuit of knowledge is the fundamental purpose of university education. It aims to enthuse and equip you as commencing students through interdisciplinary presentation of broad perspectives in our faculty, and the systematic teaching also of key academic skills, so you'll know how to go about this process in a scholarly way. And we have, within this course, we will provide intensive small group discovery experiences where a sense of collaborative endeavour is established as key questions are explored and students gain confidence in pursuing their own investigations. So we're very excited about this initiative. Just a bit more about the Bachelor of Arts. The Bachelor of Arts, Ben talked about it being extremely flexible, and it's flexible too in the sense that you can combine it with other degrees as well. So you can have a double degree with something such as law, science, or teaching. We have many, many students who are doing a Bachelor of Arts and a Bachelor of Teaching. There's international studies, media, economics, and also in music. So we do have a relationship with the professions as well, where you can do majors in marketing, in economics, and in commerce. And there are also lots of combined degrees, and a really, really popular option is the Diploma of Languages. If you take this up in combination with your Bachelor of Arts, you will study for 4 years, but you will come out with 2 degrees at the end of that. We are very, very committed to sending as many of our students overseas as possible. And we have partnerships with a number of universities in Europe, in North America, and also in Asia. A sign of our commitment to this is that in 2013, the number of our students studying overseas increased 120%. So we're putting a lot of effort into this, into study abroad. A little bit about the Bachelor of Arts Advanced. This is a relatively new program for high achieving students. It's very specialised, it's research focused, and it concentrates on the liberal arts. At the moment, you can see the majors that are offered. We are going to broaden those majors as of 2015 to include, in particular, the languages. For this degree, you need an ATAR of 95, which can sound rather intimidating, but there is also the possibility that you can transfer once you have begun your study and that you have a certain grade point average. We have, I think, 45 students in the Bachelor of Advanced at the moment, and we will have our first graduate at the end of this year. His name's Galen, and he's working with me, and it's great. I really love it. Okay, so it's a really, really fun program. What happens in this program is that you are appointed an academic mentor, as I am Galen's academic mentor, and I'm also a mentor for other students who are not completing this year. And we encourage you to take study abroad. We encourage you to do an arts internship, and we have 2 final year courses, one on advanced humanities theory and method, and also a research project as well. The BA Advanced, if you're thinking of doing this, is particularly relevant and is an excellent pathway to further research. So to the PhD via honours or the Masters of Philosophy. Before I finish, we have Therese, who is going to tell her point of view about, she's going to talk about her. She's one of our recent graduates.
Yes, okay, hi, my name's Therese. I'm a recent graduate of Bachelor of Arts. So I finished end of 2012 Bachelor of Arts with an honours degree in history. And I'm doing a double degree with law, so I'm just in my final year of law at the moment. Just asked to come in and give you a little bit about my experience. And I suppose with you guys, a lot of you starting off, my experience when I was picking my degree and stuff is that I didn't quite know where I was going, but I knew what I liked, and I knew I was interested. My major was history, so that was my main area of study. So I knew when I was picking my degree that I wanted to do history. So that's how I got into the arts, rather than thinking, people might do commerce because they're like, oh, I'd love to be an accountant or something. I don't know. I went into the Bachelor of Arts because I knew what I liked. I didn't quite know where it would take me. So as I got further in, like when I was picking my subjects in first year, there's just so much choice. You sort of, want to do a bit of everything. But as you go through and you pick what you're interested in, you really start to discover the stuff that you're passionate about and what really makes you interested and engaged in it. So I sort of found that, a rewarding way of figuring out what you're interested in. When you start coming from year 12, I came straight from year 12, and you're a bit like, oh, I like English, I like French, but I don't know where this is going. So I found that rewarding. And also, like I came to Open Day and you go through all the graduate tributes and stuff, and that's definitely 100% true, but you don't quite know what that means for you in the practical sense. So as I went through the Bachelor of Arts, I found out, like I started doing some of these practical things. I did the arts internship and I did scholarships and I did sort of research and stuff. And like you actually find the practical results of these graduate tributes they tell you about coming through. So for example, I did history. So the kind of things I did, I was doing some legal research with a barrister for the arts internship. I did a research scholarship where I was transcribing things to go for the National Library of Australia. I was researching in the state records. Now this might be, mind-numbingly dull to you guys if you're not interested in history, but that's what I was interested in. That's the stuff that comes up. So there's actual practical things that come up along the way, which you sort of, not quite sure that they're really there. When you see the graduate tributes, you sort of don't know what they mean for you, but they do come up. So yeah, and the other thing I just found really rewarding is that the classes in Bachelor of Arts, people are there because they want to be there. So I'm doubling with law, and law has great aspects, but there are some compulsory courses that people don't want to do. So you're sitting in a class and everyone's just zoned out. When you're doing Bachelor of Arts, people are there because they want to be there. It just makes everything so much more enjoyable and rewarding, and it makes the work easier as well. So, that's a bonus too. Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Ben and I will be around to answer any questions that you might have. And also we have the Barsmith Lawns. Where are we? Benji. That way, there will be a tent for the humanities and social sciences where you can speak to people in more depth about some of the subject areas. So English, philosophy, classics, the languages, the social sciences, etc. Thank you. Have fun. See you next year.